Hello and welcome, friends. So, myself Tanmay, and I'm a software engineer, and I have worked with Amazon previously, and I have compiled this video to give you a first-hand glance of all the Amazon leadership principles within just 15 minutes. So, when you are going to face an Amazon interview, or just trying to understand better about the company, this is a perfect video for you, especially if you are an engineer. So, without wasting time, let's start. So first of all, I'll try to open the Amazon leadership principles page. So you could just go and search for it. I had recently searched it, so I can open the Amazon leadership principle page. Yeah, here. So, so guys, I'll try to focus on the slightly tricky leadership principles first, and others which are like fairly obvious. We'll try to cover at the end of our discussion. Okay. So to begin with, I'll start with have backbone, disagree, and commit. So, friends, this is really interesting. Something very specific to Amazon. So, what that means is that just imagine a situation wherein you and your fellow teammates are having a design discussion, and it is possible that two or three people or four people are working on a project, and you have a disagreement with the way your peer wants to implement it, and you're not able to reach a consensus there. So this basically this leadership principle means that whenever you have opposing views with a co-worker, with a colleague, then do not just just because they have a higher rank or you report to them, do not just blindly agree with them just because they're saying it. But if you strongly feel that a certain perspective needs to be considered while devising a solution, then you have the backbone. You disagree. If you actually are in disagreement, you show your disagreement. You be honest about what you're thinking about the product instead of just being a yes man. Okay, this is the first part of this leadership principle, and the second part is pretty interesting, which is that and commit. What it means is that, see, whenever two people are having a disagreement, it is possible that the final consensus or the final decision either goes your way or it doesn't go your way. But the thing is that after whatever the decision is made, even if it is not, people do not go with what you had initially suggested, still you commit to the solution, and you go and work wholeheartedly with the team to implement that solution. So basically, this commit part is basically it stresses on that you are a team player, and even if you don't agree with something, you go with the team instead of later on coming back to the person and saying that, see, that I did not agree with this and you still implemented this and now it's not working. So it's not like that. So this whole leadership as well really focuses on the part of being a team player. So if somebody if an interviewer asks you about that, you can really actually express or narrate a situation where this happened. Even if it doesn't happen, knowing the meaning of this definitely is a good thing. Okay, so coming back to the next one is deliver results. Now, deliver results is interesting. Now, you would say that anybody who's working, of course, they are delivering results, right? They're like, if you're a software developer, you're building features, you're deploying features in production. So what's new about that? But the most important component of this leadership principle is the time aspect. So if you're delivering results, if you are building a feature, then if you're late, late from the deadline, 1 week or 1 month or 2 months, it is as good as not delivering the feature. So basically, this leadership principle really focuses on the time sensitivity of things. That delivering a feature on time is as important as delivering a feature, or it basically means delivering a feature means delivering it on time. So that is the stress point here. Okay, anyway, coming to the next one is dive deep. So let's say you are a technical contributor, an individual contributor. So whenever let's say you are trying to figure out the best data store for storing the kind of data that you need to store in your service. So you could think about SQL data stores, NoSQL data stores, and other possible options. But whatever analysis you do, you go deep into it to the point that you can make really confident choices. You can, so basically a dive deep exercise would mean to list the pros, the cons, to try to understand what matches better. With your, and it should be expressed and calibrated by you in a manner that you can actually share with your colleagues and co-workers, and it really helps them also to understand. Because let's say you're building a system, so it is possible that 1 year down the line people start to question a new person joining a team, let's say, or starts questioning that why did we do this. So if you have driven deep into something and you have really documented that whole story or that whole analysis, it will always help the team to chart their future path and try to understand where they're coming from and what to build next. Okay, moving on to the next one is earn trust. Now this is typically very interesting. Now anybody, whether you're just a fresher joining the team, or you are a mid-level like a team lead, or you're a manager, everybody needs to earn trust. Now what does it really mean in the scope of this work is that, let's say you are a junior engineer, you are given features, so you deliver that on time, or if you're even if you're not able to deliver them, you ask the right questions, you keep a strong communication to the point that people are able to trust. Not see, you may not have total expertise, but they're able to trust your ability and your commitment to the whole to the system you're building or to the team. So earning trust is basically about stronger communication, building a rapport, being honest, being intellectually honest, if I must say. That intellectually honest means if your analysis told you that this is the right way to go with it, even if you don't personally want to go that way, you kind of be honest about your analysis. So intellectual honesty is something very very deeply appreciated at Amazon, and that is what again really helps you to build trust with people. And the other important pillar of earning trust is communication, accountability. Okay, coming to next one is frugality. Now frugality typically means it means that you try to fully utilize the resources available in order to build whatever you are building, instead of so basically you try to you try to use a minimum resource approach while building things. So this is very true about Amazon, and this is what really helps the company scale. Company really provide a number of products with the limited resources, and it typically is the best way for anybody. Now, one of the principles or philosophies on which this is based is that when there are less constraints, when there is a limitation of constraint, it really boosts creativity. That when you have, so just think about your life and normal examples. Whenever you have less constraint and still you want to achieve something, basically you get creative. But if you have an abundance of resources, even then your lame approach or lame methods will help you reach the end result. So you won't be very creative, you won't be very efficient, and basically you will regret those inefficient, those lame choices later on. Coming back to the next one is bias for action. This is pretty interesting. So basically, it says that many times you may be in a situation. Let's say you are trying to implement the technical stack to support a business feature. Okay, and it's possible that you have one, two, three, four design reviews with your team. You've had senior engineers in your team review your design, but still you people have not been able to reach a consensus, not able to finalize the design. So in that case, let's say it is possible that your current design solves 95% of the problems, but there are 5% of situations or 5% of, let's say, use cases which it may not solve. It is even possible those use cases are nowhere going to arrive in the near future. So in that case, you can make a call that I want to deliver this feature on time, otherwise it may lose its importance in the market. So instead of building the perfect solution, I will use the bias for action philosophy and try to act upon what we have already thought about, already discussed, instead of being in a situation of analysis paralysis, wherein your analysis is not helping you to move ahead. Okay, moving to the next one is think big. Now, thinking big, like it's pretty. Now I guess we're coming to the simpler ones. Thinking big is a pretty self-explanatory leadership principles. It says that in the scope of a developer, I would say, let's say you're trying to solve a problem for your team, but you realize that you could make that system a little more generic, and then it could be used by multiple teams. So basically, you could build a multi-tenant platform out of it. So that is how, as a developer, you're thinking big. To give an example, in my current company. Okay, so I've left Amazon now. In my current company, one of my friends, one of my software engineers in my team was trying to build a rating and review software for a rating and review system for basically some of the products that we kind of sell on our app. And slowly, while doing the analysis and while looking at if any such system exists company wide or not, he realized that no such system exists in the company. So he thought that why not build a generic platform so that many other teams can leverage that to build their future systems, and that in general will solve this problem for everybody. It will be reusable, and it is basically it will save a lot of developer hours instead of replicating almost similar rating and review system for other systems. So he actually extended and built a platform out of it. So that is how he thought big, and it I already know that many teams have onboarded on this platform, and it has really, his thinking big attitude has really helped the company build more products on time. So coming to the next one is insist on high standards. So to give you an example, as a developer, many times it's possible that you have given some estimates, the reasonable estimates for finishing a product, but the business really is pushing you to do it, much faster. So that is an example wherein they may create a situation wherein if you want to check in your code, you might have to compromise on quality. So as a developer, that is something you must never do, because you are a owner of the code quality, the code readability, the code maintainability. So even if somebody is not giving you enough time, you have to push back and ask for that time, because the code is your responsibility. So you should always insist on the highest standards when it comes to all things that a developer takes care of in general. So then hire and develop the best. Pretty straightforward. Basically, a company is basically a group of people trying to solve a problem. So a company is as good as its set of people, and both in terms of attitude and aptitude. You should uh, now this is opportunity based, but if you do have got an opportunity to hire people, you should try to hire people who are better than the average capability of the team. And the second part is developing the best is about mentoring junior engineers, and I think mentoring really would mean helping them to grow themselves, and basically giving them an oversight, not doing micromanaging, not really handling them a lot, but really creating an environment where they can grow and learn. So then this brings us to the next one, is learn and be curious. Again, very interesting. So like people say that curiosity is naturally rewarding. So the best engineers I've seen, they are the ones who are really curious about how system works. If you're using a hash map, how is really a hash map internally implemented? If you're using Kafka, then how is Kafka really different from, let's say, RabbitMQ? So those people who are really curious, they also tend to deep dive, and they also tend to become better engineers at it. So yeah, I think it's very important for a technical person, for a techie. I write a lot. This can be tricky. What it means is that before you bring on any idea, opinion, or suggestion in front of the forum, in front of the team, you have really thought about it. You have really eliminated the possibly wrong ideas, and then you are coming up with the right ideas. So nobody can be right a lot always. That's simply not possible. What it means is that you have really thought long and hard about your suggestions, your ideas before you bring it to the public forum. So that is the way you are right, because you have eliminated the wrong thoughts and approaches from your mind. Coming back to next is invent and simplify. To give you an example, let's say that you have trained a machine learning model, and it took a lot of time, a lot of data cleanup, all those processes to really invent that machine learning model, and that does an interesting prediction. Let's say it does a prediction of which advertisements to show to the end customer. So once you build the model, let's say other teams also want to use your model for similar use cases. So if you invent and simplify, would in this case would mean that you build a production system around this machine learning model, so that, and let's say it exposes APIs on this platform which other teams can simply call, and kind of that API would on the back end use this machine learning model to give the correct response. So you've invented a system, but you've simplified it for people's use. People who want to use it don't exactly need to know all the workings of that system. So that is invent and simplify. Coming to the next one is ownership. Ownership is clearly one of the most important leadership qualities. Ownership simply does not mean taking credit for work. It also means that if your system goes bad, you do not really push blame to your junior developers or people who report to you, but you actually take ownership of it in basically in hay and sunshine, but also in the bad times. And ownership will is typically a leadership principle that basically helps acquire all other leadership principles as well. So yeah, definitely very important. Coming to the next one is customer obsession. This simply means that customers have divine discontent, they always have some problem or the other, but you are building for the customer. So companies can typically be product centric or customer centric. Product centric companies are like Google, they try to build a perfect product and then they believe that the customer will use it. That may be true sometimes, they may not be true sometimes, but Amazon is different. They are customer obsessed, so they go to the market, they do the survey, they think what the customer needs, and then they try to come backwards and build. So one of the important philosophies at Amazon is working backwards. You first find out what the customer wants, and then you work backwards to define the product that you want to build. So this is the difference between Amazon and other companies. So that it is more customer centric than product centric. Okay, and the and this is something that is also present in many companies. So the other companies which call it by similar names like customer empathy, or something on similar grounds. But it just means that you are trying to take your requirements, walking backwards from the customer, not walking forwards, that you define that this will be the product, and then you just want to believe that it will also be liked by the customer. So typically the difference between customer obsession and product obsession is that customer obsession work backwards from the customer, and then you define the product. In the product obsession, you first define the product and then you take it to the market, and then you have this belief that it will work. So it does not always work. Okay, thank you guys. I think I might have literally overshot the 15 minutes deadline, but hope it really helped you. Thank you. And crack your interview, really do well, and understand that these values are not very unique. Some of them are of course pretty unique to Amazon, because it's a 25-year-old company and they've learned a lot. And let me tell you, these are not things that are taken lightly at Amazon. They really believe in these leadership principles. These leadership principles are used to actually conclude disagreements, to define discussions, and to define the philosophy, the product philosophy and things. So these are definitely important to Amazon. That's why they would really be interested to get your take on that. I've just made an attempt to help you understand what it is. So use it to best of your advantage. Thank you guys.